just have some earnings per share from JP Morgan coming in at 78 cents versus $2.65 year on year. First quarter provision for credit losses coming in at $8.2 billion versus 1.5.
JP Morgan announced yesterday that they forecast a severe recession triggered by the quarantine because of the illness that must not be named. Back in January, the market had already been disgustingly overvalued when it comes to value fundamentals. If you're familiar with value fundamentals, it's the price that it trades at. Companies like Visa trading at record high multiples, and in subsequent months, the Dow plunged roughly 35% as a result of the illness spreading throughout the world. Bulls will argue that a 35% correction more than makes up for this drop in price. But is that true? Let's plunge deeper into how this quarantine affects the average person and how it extends all the way to the economy, including the financial markets. Warren Buffett rarely sells stock, but he actually sold Delta Airlines even after the price drop. Rather than going with his usual philosophy of buying more of the same company on dips, he actually sold Delta Airlines. You would think that he would buy more of a company after it plunges over 50%, right? Wrong. Why would Buffett sell stock at a loss in a company he has believed in for a long time? Why would Buffett be sitting on such a huge cash pile for almost 2 years? The answer is simple. He is waiting for the right time to penetrate the market with a huge move. Let's break it down. Let's say we have Joe the plumber. Joe works hard in his service sector job. He makes a respectable $50,000 a year, and after taxes, that's maybe $40,000. Joe has 2 kids, a wife, a modest home, and a car. Joe's wife is a stay-at-home mom, so let's say Joe is the only income earner. His car is leased, he has a mortgage to pay, he has to buy food, he has to pay his electricity bills, utilities, property tax. Joe has 4 cell phone lines to pay for as well. Joe has to pay for internet. Joe also smokes and consumes alcohol. For all intents and purposes, Joe lives roughly paycheck to paycheck and maybe has a small savings fund of $10,000. And that's being optimistic. Let's not forget that we also live in a consumer-based economy where Joe pays for Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, a World of Warcraft subscription, Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, it goes on and on. And because of the quarantine, Joe now has to cancel all of these subscriptions and live with bare essentials. Joe is no longer buying pizza once a week from his favorite pizza place. Joe is no longer shopping for fun for his family. Let's fast forward a few months. Joe is now having trouble paying his mortgage and his car. So how many people have lost money at this point? Let's get into that. First of all, it starts with Joe. Joe is struggling. But what about all the stores that Joe's wife used to shop at? What about Joe's pizza place that he can no longer afford to buy from every week? What about the bank that's holding Joe's mortgage? Are they losing money? You bet your ass they are. Joe is also struggling to make car payments. Joe is also not going to be traveling or going on vacation. Banks and other financial institutions like the ones associated to car companies put the future money owed to them into their assets, which add to their value positively. So what does that mean? It means that if you have a $600,000 mortgage that you have not paid for yet and a $50,000 car that you leased, all of these things you have not paid for yet, but you promise to pay them in the future. Financial institutions will place this $600,000 and this $50,000 into their assets on their balance sheet. So when an investor like you or me looks at a bank and looks at their financial statements and sees $500 million, for example, in their assets, which are mortgages and future car payments, these assets become worthless because people are not able to pay for them anymore. So the banks can no longer expect to get paid for this in the future. Now, am I making an extreme case of this? Yes. Are there some people who are able to work from home and are able to still make these payments? Yes. But a vast majority of service sector based jobs are not going to be able to pay for these things. These are enormous economic sectors that are about to face record high delinquencies. Let's move on to not just the banks, not just the financial institutions, but other businesses that are going to struggle as a result. The businesses that Joe used to buy from are no longer making money from him, but not just from him, all of their consumers, because they're all going through the same thing, the same illness, the same quarantine. These businesses are not able to pay employees. They have to lay off workers. They're no longer spending money on advertising. These businesses also have loans of their own that they have to pay for. They are no longer swiping credit cards as often as they did. Companies like Facebook, who make advertising revenue, are already reporting loss in revenue. Companies like Visa and MasterCard are reporting that they will see lower figures in the very near future. These are companies that make money from everybody. If these companies are going to struggle, the whole world will struggle as well. So let's sum it all up. The car companies are getting screwed. The banks are getting screwed. Financial institutions are getting screwed. Airlines are getting screwed. Hotels are getting screwed. Now, how many people does that affect? How many jobs does that affect? These are enormous sectors. Now let's multiply that nationwide. Let's multiply that worldwide. Do you now see the trouble that is on the horizon? Factor what I just stated in this entire video with the fact that the United States was already running a $10 trillion deficit before the illness. Consider that 90-day car payment delinquencies were already at an all-time high before the illness. My personal opinion is that we are on the verge of a financial meltdown that will last the next 2 years. And it will take a few years to recover from this as well. Now, this is just based on what's going on up until today. Let's say quarantine lasts even longer. Let's say it's been 6 months, Joe has not worked. Let's say it's been 8 months, Joe has not worked. How many businesses will struggle? How many people will struggle? Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to make you aware of the future that is possible. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could be. And I hope that I am, but I doubt it. Especially considering that JP Morgan agrees with me, Warren Buffett's cash pile agrees with me, the guidance that major companies like MasterCard and Facebook are announcing agrees with me. It's time to save your money. It's time to be extremely careful with every single dollar that you spend. I'm not the person who will sugarcoat these issues. This channel is dedicated to bringing you the truth, and I will do so. Save your money. Be ready. And when prices are ridiculously low, be ready to buy your favorite companies. That is your dose of optimism for the day. If you are prepared, if you are saving your money, and if you are finding alternative sources of income, this could be an opportunity for a lifetime. Be ready for that. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you found it informative and I hope it helps you plan your financial future. If you like the video, like, subscribe, share, comment on what you think can happen in the future. I would love to hear your thoughts about what you think the economic climate could be in the future. I will read each and every single comment, and I will even respond to a lot of them if they are interesting and spark a productive conversation. Thank you.